Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to talk about complementary colors. If you've taken design, you probably know what a complementary color is. But for this next exercise that we're going to do, I'm just going to kind of explain it to you so that when you look at the assignment, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So in a complementary color, if you created your color wheel, right? And you use three primary colors, which is yellow, red, and blue, okay? So these three hues are primary hues. So from the base of the three hues, then you can mix all of these colors. You mix more than that, right? So they're pure saturation. And what I wanted you to do is I wanted you to create a color wheel so that you could look at the opposite, the complementary colors. So the complementary colors is the color that's on the opposite side of the color wheel. So the complementary of the yellow is going to be purple, okay? The complementary of blue is going to be orange. The complementary red is going to be green. You kind of get it, right? So it's the opposite of the color wheel. So what I'm going to do, I wanted to show you, because we're working in, basically still, we're working with colored pencils, right? Maybe next week we'll do a lesson on pastels, colored pastels. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you, I'm going to move things around a little bit. I'm going to show you this exercise that I want you to try. In that I want you to use your knowledge of complementary colors, that they're the opposite color on the color wheel. And I want you to, oops, darn it. I want you to do a thing called, well, in painting it's called underpainting. So what you're going to do is you're going to create an undercolor, and then you're going to use the complement of that undercolor to create a different tone. It gives you kind of a richer tone, actually. So I'm going to start, let's start with, let's start with a yellow, okay? The complement of yellow is purple. All right, I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? So I created some circles. I'm just going to create a circle. Just put yellow. Can make it look kind of like a, see that? The lighting's not great. It's kind of getting a, I'll do a couple of them just to kind of give you an idea. And I want you to practice this. Do one lesson in creating what's called an underpainting, or an under hue. And then remember, the complement of yellow is purple, okay? Because I looked at my color wheel. So now I'm going to I'd like you to see how many you can get. I'm only going to do a couple examples for you. I hope you can see it. I'm not sure. It's hard drawing like this, actually. It's weirdly not like painting. Interesting. A little messy, actually. Kind of get the idea though. So in complementary colors, there's a thing called simultaneous contrast. And what happens is these two hues, these two colors actually vibrate off of each other. And that's why sometimes if you stare at something and say, what will happen is the complement, you'll see like a shadow of the complementary color. So it's an interesting way to create some kind of tone. Okay. I'm a little scared. There we go. This one. So you kind of see, hopefully, see if you can see it. Yeah, it's giving like this value, shading. Okay, so try this. This is a blending pen that I have, which I rarely use. You can use this if you want to blend your the pigment. All right, so let's try the next one. So let's go with red. And the complement of red is green. Red out, green out. You know, another thing that's kind of good is that the more you practice and experiment, then you can keep these. And I'll show you samples of what I've done to get a better idea of what a hue would do, what a color will do. it's hard to photograph on my laptop, but I think you kind of get the idea. You know, it's, instead of using black and white, you can create values, shading, things like that, with using your complements. And it kind of gives you maybe a little bit of a rich color, richer in value. All right. Well, that's interesting, right? Weird. Makes great shadows, browns, things like that. So that's 2 examples. And I'd like you to do, let's see, I'd like you to experiment, do 5 or 6 examples. What does this look like when you use the complement for different colors, and do an underdrawing or an underpainting. And let me see. The other thing that I'm going to ask from you for tomorrow is, I don't know if you can see this, but these are value strips, but using color. So, or yellow, see yellow. So I start out with a darker yellow, right? And then it just gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And I'd like you to do the same thing, and I'll write it out on your module for this week. But I'd like you to do this, where I'd like you to create value strips, and so you can use your so if you whenever you add white to a hue or a color, then it turns it into a tint, right? So it's getting lighter and lighter. And whenever you like add black to a value, to a hue, then it's called a shade, okay? But you can also use complementaries. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to create this kind of value strip where if you just tone the whole thing in yellow, right? Light yellow, just start by light yellow. And then you'd have to get a little darker, and a little darker. But until you get to the end. And I think sort of when you start to get towards these ends, instead of using black, why don't you try using this thing with complementaries? And so you'll keep, you know, just, and if you just create one, that's fine. But they're nice to have. I have lots of these things. And it's nice to put them on the wall while I'm painting, you know, and I need to have a color reference. It helps me. Okay, so I'm going to set up the a couple exercises for you to do tomorrow, and then for Wednesday's class, I think that I will have a project for you that you'll be working on in color, and I will I'll put this together for you in Canvas with more information. All right, thank you so much. I hope that helps. You're going to do these complementary color wheel, not color circles. So you're going to use the opposite of the color wheel, the complement, and you're going to create what's called an underpainting or an underdrawing, I guess I could say. Use one of the complements and fill it in, and then whatever the complement is, then you go back on top of that and fill that in, okay, and just shade it in until you like the results. And that's it for tomorrow. I think for Wednesday, I'll have one more assignment up for you. These are just exercises, like I said. So you're going to do this, and you're also going to do at least one. Look, I have 4. They're really nice to have. They're nice to have to put in your studio. Can you see it? All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.